Yeah, hello out there. Paul's Path here. This is Paul. Following the path, following the spiritual path and living life, a happy life, but more of a useful life. You know, I can be happy, I can be useful, but I'm not always happy, especially if somebody's suffering, but I can always be useful, you know. Let's get back to basics a little bit. Instead of going to the big book, we'll talk about step one, which is probably the most important step, because if you don't know what's wrong with you, you're not going to want to fix it. It says things like, and I'll go over what that means. It says, who cares? This is the alcoholic, right? Who cares to admit complete defeat? Practically no one, of course. It's not in our nature to be defeated. We were born with a will to survive. So to actually surrender is not in our will. But see, alcohol is not something that came with humans. Humans made alcohol, you know. So it is truly awful to admit that, glass in hand, we have warped our minds into such an obsession for destructive drinking that only an act of providence can remove from us some type of spiritual awakening or spiritual experience, or basically a personality change sufficient to recover from alcoholism. That is what a spiritual awakening is, you know. We become different people, and we no longer require a drink, but the same man will drink again, you know. So we have to change, and there's work to be done, you know. It says no little good can come to any alcoholic who joins AA. What's important here? When first challenged to admit defeat, most of us revolted. We had approached AA expecting to be taught self-confidence. Then we had been, same thing as what I just said, you know. In AA's pioneer time, none. But here's what I like. It says, you know, it says, but a few did. And when these laid hold of AA principles with, they're talking about people that haven't really hit a bottom yet. They have 2 cars in the garage and got money and stuff, but they're just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that wasn't the case when AA first started. It was mostly low bottom. It says that is why the first edition of the book Alcoholics Anonymous, published when our membership was small, dealt with low bottom cases only. Many less desperate alcoholics tried AA but did not succeed because they could not make the admission of hopelessness. It is a tremendous satisfaction to record that in the following years, like these years today, the alcoholics who still had their, and actually sobriety is kind of hot now, you know, like seriously, like sobriety from drugs and alcohol is kind of hot. I mean, movies are making Academy Awards, like you know, Jeff Bridges won an Academy Award for Crazy Heart. You know, I mean, like it's not like it used to be. I don't even know if it needs to be anonymous anymore. It's just, you know, this was a long time ago. Anyway, the important page is the last page. So what it says here is, why all this insistence that every AA must hit some bottom first, some type of bottom. And bottom for me is not, I'm an alcoholic, I'm going to die. Bottom for me is, I really want to stop, and I cannot on my own. That was my bottom. It doesn't matter why I want to stop. But if I really, really want to stop, and I can't on my own, welcome. Man, do we got a program for you. Where you get to a place where you won't even think about alcohol, because you're going to be a different person. So it says, who cares to work the steps? Who wants to confess his faults to another and make restitution for harm done? Who cares anything about a higher power, let alone meditation and prayer? Who wants to sacrifice time and energy in trying to carry AA's message to the next sufferer? No, the average alcoholic, self-centered in the extreme, doesn't care for this process unless he has to do these things in order to stay alive himself. And I realized I was killing myself, and I really wanted to stop, and I couldn't. And I joined AA, and I could, and I got help. Most important paragraph. Under the lash of alcoholism. That's the allergy, okay? The lash of alcoholism is the beating we take by alcohol. It doesn't mean you got step 1 yet. It just means you took a beating, okay? So under the lash of alcoholism, we are driven to AA, and there we discover the fatal nature of our situation, the main thing being the obsession, the mental state that precedes the relapse. We can't do anything about the allergy. I still have it today, but why would I pick up a drink after I've tried it 1,000 times and I wasn't successful? That's the real problem. You know, if I'm allergic to avocados, it's easy to stop eating avocados. But if I picked up an avocado knowing I'm allergic to it, I'd have to be crazy. And so step 2 says we'll be restored to sanity. So it says, it's in AA where we learn the fatal nature of our situation, not out there. It says, then and only then do we become as open-minded to conviction and as willing to listen as the dying can be. We stand ready to do anything that will lift the merciless obsession from us. And they're talking about the steps, they're talking about service, and they're talking about unity. And they're talking about putting that triangle, the number one priority in your life. And that's whatever it takes. When they say whatever it takes, they're talking about steps, unity, and service. And priority over the job, the kids, the wife, because most people are not making it unless they put the triangle first. And that's step one. Step one to me, basically, without step two, is I'm going to drink no matter what. You know, step one is I'm going to drink no matter what, whether I want to or not. That's the summary of step one. However, step two, we have a solution, life on a spiritual basis. So that's it, guys. I'm going to be putting on a retreat, sober retreat. I hope you guys come. All the information is going to be on the videos here, and yeah, I hope you got something out of that step one, because you should be afraid to drink, and you should realize you should be afraid to know that you will drink again unless you get some proper help and follow spiritual principles and ask another man, can you help me? Because it works 100%. It did years ago, it still does today, but you got to do what it takes. All right, guys, love you all. Thanks for the donations.